Back again for another video. On today's topic, we will be talking about another edition of my little mini series, The Justification of Multiple Women or Wives, however you guys want to frame it. On this third entry of the mini series, I will be talking about insecurities. Insecurities play a big part into maintaining a polygamy relationship, and I'm not saying that they are necessary to maintain a polygamy relationship, but I am saying that they are pretty prevalent because you have to maintain a good balance. And the way women are designed, they're designed to critique the environment harshly at some times, right? Too harshly can become toxic, right? But in this critique, they're also looking for things to validate some of the emotions that they have, and these things could take many different forms. But the emotions that they have are sometimes insecurities, right? Insecurity is an emotional thing because it is a response rather than a rational thing, right? Most things that are responses, if they're not pre-programmed, like involuntary, usually stem from emotional, right? That's just how it is for the most part. But what I want to go over here in this video is that I want to make it very clear of why a man would pick multiple women. And I want to use the lens of talking about it through insecurities, or rather about insecurities. So the thing of it is, because I've ran into these problems before, and I've had to explain to women, but at the time I did not have the proper ability to articulate what it is that I'm doing and why, over emotional conclusions that they came to as a result of the circumstances, right? And I'm not going to get in hyper detail about this stuff, but I am going to give you an example, right? An example would be, and I'm pretty sure many men who practice polygamy have gone through this. Your woman asking you, why do you think I'm not good enough? Why do you need another woman? Why is another woman necessary for you to do what you need to do? I can't do everything, but I can do majority of everything that you want me to do. I've heard these things many times. And like I said, there were points in my life where I did not have the proper articulation to rebut this in a way that is rationally sound, and devoid of emotional response, right? Because she's asking these things through her emotional rational, right? She is rationalizing these things through her emotions, and she is justifying them because of the way she feels, according to the reality. So that's what I mean by rational emotional. The thing of it is that you as a man should have the articulation. I'm here to help out with it. I'm not saying that I know all the answers. I'm not saying that I know everything that you need to say, but I understand, right? I understand why many men do this. From my point of view, I understand. I can't say the specific instances of the reason why, but usually when a man does it, it's to meet his fulfillment under his purpose and his choosing, right? Those two different things, so that he can stay focused on what he needs to, and everything is pretty much in-house in his circle. He doesn't need to go outside of his circle to get anything that he may think a woman has the ability to do, right? Whether it be, like I said, with his choice of how she looks, how she smells, the sound of her voice, the way she touches you, all these things, versus the reason why you would select her, what she's capable of, how she handles situations, what her ability logistically is, as far as taking care of things, being a secretary, processing things, keeping appointments, those types of things, cooking, whatever, So there's always those things that usually a man selects multiple women for the reason, right? But women oftentimes see this once again through a lens of insecurity, right? That, and we know as men that it has nothing to do with it, because our love is our love. Our love is very potent. It is very wide reaching all at the same time. So I understand what's going on, but the women don't. How can you explain this to them in the way that they understand? So let's go over that. Sorry for the long intro, but I got to do my thing, right? I got to do my thing, right? Anyways, how I see things is that it's not about the woman. I recently had a conversation, as I do. I have many I talk to women a lot, and it's not even on some let me holler at you type of thing. It's just general conversation. I have female friends, I have female acquaintances. Females kind of like to talk to me more than men. That's the crazy part. That you would think that it would be a lot of men that want to have a discussion with me, but because I have this wealth of knowledge about women, but that's not really the case. It's not really the case. The most people that want to talk to me are female. I don't know why that is. It's whatever. But, I was talking to a woman, and she was asking me about this. She was like, why is it that a lot of men, because I was talking to her about BDSM and explaining to her that I am a dominant, right? And I was explaining to her that most dominants are polygamy, the male versions anyways. They deal with multiple women, but it's not always sexual. A lot of people relate the BDSM world directly to sex when that's not always the case. Actually, I would say the majority of the principles and essence of the BDSM world has nothing to do with sex at all, right? If you are from that lifestyle, you understand what I'm saying. And those of you who are not, help us change this. Because the majority of the people who are in existence have no idea what it is, but they have this outside view of BDSM being center focus or always pivoted off of sex, but that's not the case. But anyway, I don't want to get into that. That's another video, another channel, right? How it works is that it's almost like children, right? Children don't operate as women do in their purpose, right? Children are children. That is their purpose of existing at that point in time. Whereas with women, they have a purpose under men as well, but it is very different from children. So that's how we differentiate those, right? But they're likened to children because the reason why you would have more than one, right? And I don't mean this in the sense of a biological sense or a social sense, but I mean this in the sense of getting things done. That's what I mean. Getting things done. That is the center focus of this. The reason why a man would have multiple women is getting things done, meeting his criteria. But let's just take that away a little bit. Let's just take that away. Let's act like that's not even there. And let's just say a man wants multiple women, and we liken them to children. Now, I don't want to confuse you, but let's just say we liken them to children, how we deal with children. Not saying that they're children, right? Not saying they're children, but liking to children and how we deal with them, right? Okay, so when it comes to having more than one child, you don't love one more than the other, right? Even if you have three children, you don't love one more than the other. You love them all the same. And once again, this is the 1-for-1 switch of the reason why women can't understand this is because they are the center focus of involvement of the topic. But when it involves something that is outside of themselves, that doesn't have anything, they're second person in this, they're not the first person, the first type of center focus of this, and they're the second focus of this. When it comes to women and children, women will be the second focus of the children because the children take precedence a lot of time, right? So they understand that if they have more than one child, they're not going to treat them differently. But for some reason, some strange anomaly in the universe, they can't understand why a man would have multiple women. I understand That is a very different thing. But this is how men see women in regards to our provision, our caretaking, our discipline, our punishment, everything. We see them kind of like children, and mostly our love. Our love. This is how we see women. The same way women see children that they have multiple. It's the same way men see women that they have multiple. Y'all get that? All right, let's keep going. So the other portion of it is that not only does the woman miss that, but then she starts to fixate on her quote unquote worth. I've done videos about that. And her worth has nothing to do with it. Let's go back to the analogy of the children again. How would a mother treat children? First off, equally. But let's say that all these children go to school, right? Let's say that two of them get really good grades, and one is damn near about to fail the grade that they're in. Is the mother going to pay more attention, or going to split the attention equally across all of them, or is there going to be a center focus of attention on the one who is having the issues, right? If you look at it that way, then you can start to understand, especially if you're a woman listening, then you can start to understand the introduction of why men have multiple women. Okay, so we all know that it is right for a man to have a center focus on a child, or a woman to have center focus on a child who is falling behind, who needs some assistance, who needs more attention than the other ones, because the other ones, they're doing just fine. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're falling behind. Now, let's switch it. A man having 3 women. There are 2 women. Oh, okay. Hold on, wait. Let's slow that up a little bit. Let's not even get to that point. We're going to now switch it over to the idea that a man has 1 woman, and that she is the only woman that he thinks that he wants to have. Women do not stop to think that she is such a problem child that he doesn't think that he can do multiple women. Even though I've explained plenty of times that all men have a component of polygamy to them biologically. That's how it is. If ever the species goes under, our ability to find a woman attractive enough to have sex with has to be always in play. Because if ever the species gets to low numbers to where it may not be able to thrive, if the men are picky, if the men are strictly monogamous, meaning that they pick one mate for life and then then that's it, our species wouldn't be what it is today. Think about it. If you look around you, how many of you know of a mother and a father who has no mixed children in them, meaning that they didn't have children from a previous marriage and they didn't have children after the divorce, if that happened? That's pretty rare. Most people have a mixed family, right? That has become, I would say, that is the norm across the world. And they did there was a guy who did an anthropology study back in the 1970s. I forgot his name. And he found that a good 93% of the world was actually practicing a form of polygamy. I'll have to find the study. Don't quote me. That is just a sidebar thing. You can look into it. It's somewhere out there. I may be able to find it and put it into the description of this video. But what you think the world isn't as far as your city goes. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot more things that are going on in this world that you have no idea about, and you think that just because they're going over there, they're foreign to you. But no, this is human existence again, right? But anyways, when it comes to a man having 1 woman, and he sees this woman and he says, you know what? Let's think about it. What do women say about if they have 1 child and they say, oh no, I'm not having another one of these? What do you think is the reason why they say that? I mean, you being a woman, if you're listening, What do you think a woman, and you being a man, if you're listening, why do you think a woman would say that? That, oh no, I'm not having no more of these. I'm not having another child. It's because that experience, that relationship, that reason why that child exists was very strenuous. It's very strenuous. So usually if a man says one's good enough for me, that means that you're probably a problem. That means that you, as a woman, if a man says that, yes, you are all I want, he's probably saying it just the same as that woman says, I'm not having no more kids. I don't know why women don't stop to think about this, because, women think that their behavior is so isolated, and so do men. Men believe that their behavior is so isolated that there isn't a counterpart to the things that women do in what men do. I don't know why people don't think that. There's for everything that a woman does, a man does it in some other fashion. For everything that a man does, a woman does it in some other fashion. This is the reason and how we are counterbalanced. We have to be counterbalanced, because what does it mean? If something is counterbalanced, let's say positive and negative, that means that there is the same amount of positive as there is negative. I mean, look at atoms. For every proton, for every neutron, there's an electron, right? Unless you're dealing with isotopes or something like that, right? For every neutron, there's a proton. Yeah, there's a proton. You know what I mean. The things are balanced, right? The positive and negatives are balanced. They're balanced because that's what makes it functional, right? And that's no different between male and female. Just because it's female doesn't mean that there is not a mirror version of it happening in the male world. Think about it. That's the reason why a lot of men have a problem with feminism, because it seeks to equate situations, but it doesn't seek to mirror situations, right? And that's where the counterbalance, the improper balance is happening. And we all know when you don't balance something, you create dysfunction, right? You create messed up situations. But anyways, back to the topic. In regards to why a man picks another woman, is because more than likely her insecurities are a problem. Her insecurity is a problem. If he picks just one woman and he's like, you know what? I think I'm just going to stick with this one chick. This is also another reason why men cheat on the side, because they secretly want more than one woman, but they can't functionally and logistically and mentally handle more than one woman. So they'll take the sex and a little piece of a relationship and then take a whole nother woman to complement what she is not giving in a relationship and reciprocity in her behavior, meaning that she is such a problem that he needs another form of femininity to relieve him of being that woman being such a problem. I've experienced these things. I'm speaking firsthand account. I know exactly why I've done the things that I've done in my life, and I'm here to articulate these things to you. And I've also talked to many men in regards to these things, and they say similar things, and I pick up on the undertones of what they're meaning. And when they say these things about women, it's simply the same. I don't know why people think that all of a sudden, when a man says he wants one woman, that he's making you special. A lot of times that is social pressure. A lot of times that is adherence to social customs. But that is not his true intention. Otherwise, he wouldn't have, 3 children from a previous marriage. If he viewed an individual woman, if he could view an individual woman as being special, more special than the rest, then no matter what that woman did, he would be with her. That's the truth of it. And I think women are living in the fantasy world where they think that they can find a man that actually exists in. It's not going to happen, because biology will not, you cannot unsocialize biology. You can't. I've said this so many times, and people still have this expectation. I don't know why women expect something out of men that they have never seen in their lives. People say this old anecdotal thing of, I know a friend on my mother's side of her brother-in-law, and there's this guy that he knew back in high school that was he stayed with his wife all of his life and he never did anything. Well, first off, that's anecdotal. And second off, you weren't there every day of the steps that he was taking everywhere he went. So you don't know that. Observational data tells us that men are polygamous. Women are too. But they can't handle it in the way that men do. It's because they are actually being socialized to be that. They have, that's not really a thing for them, because it's very damaging to them. We know this. Why do you think the Bible says all these things about women and men from 6,000 years ago? It's because it worked. It didn't say it for itself. I don't know how people view that stuff. Because you can find it in many different doctrines. These things that there is not supposed to be a certain level of promiscuity in women, and it's no coincidence that a lot of cultures operate that same way. Even though they had certain levels of prostitution in their community, the women weren't allowed to engage in that unless they were prostitutes themselves, and then you were pretty much an outcast, right? So I don't know why people think this whole way of their current existence is so revolutionary that they think that, oh yeah, men should conform to this thing. Men have never conformed to that. Collectively, for the majority, that's never been the case. Genghis Khan is responsible for I think is 3/5 of Chinese DNA. Something like that, or is it 1/5? I don't know, I don't remember. But he was responsible for having DNA in so much of a portion of China's DNA that he's pretty much made a lot of people relatives in some way, shape, or form. Think about 1/5 of how many billions of people they have over there. Come on. And y'all think that men are monogamous? Come on. The history doesn't support it. The history does not support it, right? But anyway, I don't want to get too deep into that. My whole point of this is that women, if a man has to fixate majority of his light on you, you're probably a problem. I'm just going to say that. Or he doesn't have enough light to give you, to fixate onto you that would supersede what would fill your vessel, right? That's another portion of it too that I had mentioned. Some men only have a certain amount of light to give, right? Even though they may have this ability to be polygamy, some of them lack it because they don't have a certain level of masculinity. That's just the way it is. It doesn't mean that you're a bad guy or you're less of a man. It does not mean any of those things. And I understand when men say that they cannot handle or they don't want to handle more than one woman. It's because they are feeling fulfilled in their output of light into a woman. And the woman is feeling fulfilled by having this level of light filling her vessel. That is a balanced system. But what happens when a man has more light that can fill a cup, a literal cup 4 times over? You think he's going to stuff that all down your throat? The only reason, once again, that a man that has 4 times what you are would fixate all that energy onto you is if your vessel is broken. This is oftentimes the reason why in relationships, the women, they become bored. Why do they become bored? It's because the man's light, it doesn't run out, but it can only fill it up to a certain level. You ever see like a what can I think of? Like a cup with a hole in it, right? You can run the water in it, but if it's coming out faster than what is going in, then it's just going to remain at the bottom of the cup. But let's say that the hole is almost big enough to where you run the water in and it only fills up to a certain level, but it doesn't reach the full capacity. That's when a woman gets bored. Because even though you're running this water forever, or this liquid forever. You're running it forever. And it only still can fill up a certain amount of that cup. She's going to become bored. Even if you have 4 times the amount of light than she needs for her vessel to be filled. That's an indication of a broken vessel. When a woman starts to require, when you're giving your light to a woman in its capacity that she is supposed to be able to handle, and she needs more light and she becomes bored, that is a sign of a broken vessel. Think about it. I just gave you the example. A cup that when you run the water in goes up to a certain level and it doesn't go any higher. It's broken. What are cups supposed to do? They're supposed to hold a certain amount of liquid or substance, and they don't require any more. That's the reason why a man can have multiple women and then feel all fulfilled. But it's only the broken women and the women who need a large fixation of male attention who have the broken vessels. Period. That's the facts. I don't know how else you want me to put this. I'm sorry. I don't know. To be honest, I'm actually going to do probably a part 2 of my video from yesterday. But there's another component that I didn't mention from that video that I want to discuss. And I think that I can make another video standalone out of that topic alone. But yeah, this is the justification for multiple women. It's because men have more light to give to women than they can hold in capacity. This does not mean that you're bad. If I have a cup that is 3 ounces, it can hold 3 ounces of liquid, and I fill it up 3 ounces, does it mean that the cup is inadequate? No, it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to only take 3 ounces. If I need to continuously put fluid into this thing in order to keep it filled, it's faulty. It's faulty. So while women are sitting here thinking, oh, I need a man to fixate onto me, you need to question why you need that much energy, right? You need to question that. You need to question why you think you need so much energy to be fixated directly onto you. Maybe because you have a broken vessel, which, like I said, that is another topic that we will get into later. But anyways, like, comment, and share. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on Patreon. Those videos are coming. But anyways, this has been the Wolf and Beta Close. May you have a good day. And of course, you know what I'm going to say. Peace be with you.